Okay, day 410. Here's what we're working on today. Today we got a property, and how I found this property, if I were to show you my filter, is I'm on Redfin. I'm in the Birmingham market. I'm looking at properties that only. Let me connect the chat. I always forget to do this just in case there's any questions. And on day 4 bedrooms, I have single family homes, and I'm only picking properties that have been on the market for less than 3 days. Okay. Why am I doing that? I am paying close attention to this market, especially with what properties are coming onto the market for the dollar per square foot. Now, let's see. This was a 4-bed, 2.5. I found this property is a 4-bed, 3-bath, 1520 square feet. 1520 is a little bit more in line with what I've been seeing 3-bedroom properties come on the market. This is a 3-bathroom property. I typically have not seen too many 3-bathroom properties here. So it's good to kind of get that premium or capture that premium. So the reason why I'm noting down all these details for this property right here is because of the BRRRR strategy. Okay. Now, the BRRRR strategy stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. And in that scenario, right, the benefit or the pro behind that strategy is really because it's very scalable. Still 11, 12, 24. It's a really scalable strategy because let's say you're able to buy a property for $30,000, super rundown, but you're able to renovate the property for $40,000. Well, now all of a sudden you are able to see that the property is now worth $100,000. So you can go get a loan for 70% of that value of the home. So 70% of $100,000, the after repair value, you can get back out $70,000 in the form of loan proceeds. It's not taxable because it's a loan. And now you are able to recuperate essentially the full $70,000 that you initially invested into the property. Now you can go get the $70,000 and go buy another property and renovate the property and do it all over again. So it's really scalable, even though it might take a long time in the beginning. So especially as you're building a routine. Now, that is a lot faster when compared to the traditional way of buying a home and renovating the home using a 20% down payment, because you had to probably work a full-time job, save up all your money, use that to put it towards the next 20%, right? That takes a ton of time. But to each their own, right? Different strategy. So it's always completely up to you. Now, I'm writing down all these attributes because I want to make sure I remember very clearly where these comparable properties are coming onto the market. So this is probably closest to North Pratt. So right, North Pratt right here. And you can kind of see for my prior properties, right? I see another property in North Pratt. This one came on the market for $99 a square foot. It was a 4-bed, 2-bath. This is now coming onto the market for $124 a square foot with the additional bathroom. And if you can kind of see, this property went contingent. So now I can see, hey, this general condition of the home went contingent. So now I'm really curious as to what it actually sells for, okay? Because now it gives me more confidence that, hey, if this did sell for $192,900, then now my floor for my ARV estimates is $99 a square foot. But if I monitor this property closely, then it might get to 124. So now I'm starting to get more confidence in the zip code, right? And especially in this area of North Pratt. So that's why this is important for you to keep track of all these properties, because eventually you get more and more confident as you pay attention to properties that are coming onto the market, that are being sold every single day. Nice bathrooms, nice white, renovated, nice. Nice light gray paint job, new flooring, nice kitchen with white cabinets and countertops, and nice bathrooms. Super nice, but renovated. So this is like rental grade. So now that I'm writing down all these general conditions to my home, I can kind of see like, okay, where are my new builds, where they're selling for, what are my renovated homes and what they're selling for. Great. So now the next thing I will do is probably analyze this deal using as is. I just want to go through the process with you, right? 108, this is properties being listed for 189,900. The next thing I want to get is I want to estimate my rehab, which I don't think it's much at all. Actually, I might just set aside maybe 3 toilets for high pressure flush toilets. I don't need to do any flooring, so I'm going to zero that out in row 91 for any refinishing. Got $500 for some landscaping, and then I got $1,500 for any roof repair just in case there's any issues. So now that gives me total rehab of $4,000. Okay. Now to get my market rents, I'm going to go to affordablehousing.com. I'm going to go to the owner section, go to the market rent estimator, and now I'm going to plug in my address right here. Put in the bedroom count, and now I can see that the average rent for 25 units within a 2.67 mile radius is $1,395. This is kind of in line with what I've been seeing for 4 bedrooms, so $1,395 works out perfectly. And now I'm going to get my other expenses. So I'm going to go to the Redfin calculator right here, the payment calculator. I want to put in $84. This was listed right here in B28. And the reason I'm using this number, obviously you should always double check with your county assessor records, just because I'm just trying to get a general sense of how much it's going to cash flow, right? I don't need to be exact. Now where it says insurance is 146, I'm going to multiply that 146 by 1.2 because I'm adding a 20% premium to the insurance payment every single month, because I'm assuming that this 146 is an estimate for the primary residence use of this property. If you're buying it for an investment, chances are insurance companies will view that as a riskier asset, so they can charge you more premium. That's all. Then I guess 10% set aside for maintenance, right? This is money that does not belong to you. So make sure you set aside money every single month, because, well, guess what? Every single month, let's say you get a bill for $14,000 for a roof replacement, which is almost what I got a bill for our property in Scottsdale. It's $15,000. Well, if you didn't set aside $139 for the past 100 months and you get a $14,000 bill, then you would have been overestimating your profitability because you underestimated your expenses. So please, please, please make sure that you are setting aside this money every single month. Then I got 10% set aside for property management, and I got 5% set aside for vacancy. So let's keep going, right? So for this property, I'm going to put in 25% down in F19. So my down payment is going to equals to my B4, my listing price, multiplied by my down payment percentage of 25%. That gives me $47,250. I got 2.5% for closing costs. I got $4,000 for renovations reserved. And so for my interest rate, I'm going to have 7.25% right now. My financing amount in K6 is going to equal to my asking price in B4 minus my E19, my down payment. So I'm going to finance $141,750. I don't have a secondary loan. This was from yesterday, so I'm going to zero that out right here in K16. So for this property, if I want to rent it out as a 4-bedroom for $1,395, I will cash flow negative $180 a month. That's a negative 3.86% return, assuming I buy this property for $189,900. I actually like to write down all these numbers so that I remember kind of what I'm doing and what my scenario analysis is. Now I'll do 2 more scenarios with you guys. All right, let's say, watch what happens to this cash and cash return number as I lower my asking price. Let's say I go to 100 grand. Well, now all of a sudden it's 10.5%. If I go to 105, 102, so I can afford to, if my target return is 10%, right, then I'd be willing to pay $102,000 for this property, because now I can cash flow $265 a month. That's a 10% return on my money. $1,395 for gross rent with a $4,000 rehab, 25% down, 7.25% interest rate. Now, I'm not saying that 10% return is your target return, right? I know some people that just wants to break even on the cash flow. That's why everybody's strategy is different. This is why this is not investment advice. We're not soliciting any investments on this call. just simply showing you how to work every single day to mess around with the different levers, right? Understand what inputs you can change to arrive at the same result, okay? Now, pay very close attention to interest rates now, right? The 10-year yield is going up and down, even though the spreads have narrowed. So let's say the interest rates dropped to 1.25% from 7.25 to 6%. See what happens to the cash and cash number? It just went up by almost 2 points. So if you are still targeting a 10% return, now all of a sudden you can afford to pay 110 grand. Let's do 111, right? Because the interest rates drop from 7.25 to 6%, you're still keeping your down payment the same at 25%, but now you're able to pay $111,000, right? That's your willingness to pay, assuming your criteria stayed the same, because that's still a 10% return. That's the exercise I want you guys to go through. That's how you learn. That's how you practice, so that you don't have your head in the sand and not pay attention to some of the macroeconomic indicators that's going on. If interest rates drop by 1.25%, you have to be able to adjust upwards what your willingness to pay is, right? And that's how also when you see mortgages go down, you can see purchase prices go up, because everybody's willingness to pay goes up, especially if it's dependent on a certain percentage return criteria. Okay. All right. So I hope this was helpful, everybody. My hope is that you copy my homework, right? Analyze the same deal I analyzed today at 108 Outer Ave. Use the same spreadsheet. You go to affordablehousing.io. You guys can get a copy of the Get Deal Analysis tool. Put in your name, email, your phone number. That's the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. And then from that point onwards, I hope you put it on your own YouTube channel, right? Because when someone asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? You can say, hey, I know it's a deal because I've been looking at deals for the past 410 days. Might that make you feel a little bit more confident? I certainly hope so. All right. So if you guys have not seen, please check out our latest podcast episode with Steph Condor. She's a developer. She's helped over 1,000 units. She's won like the Women of Influence Award in Portland, Oregon. Amazing developer, amazing and diverse background of experiences from lending, property management, asset management that really helped her become a well-rounded developer. All right. I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Without people like all of you, I would have never had the home I grew up in. So thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 411. Have a good one, everybody.